Angry MGTOW here. And women create love. Or so a radical commenter on my channel says recently. We're going to go ahead and dissect her comment. So she says women create love. Wow, this is just a whole load of horse shit. We're going to jump into it. She says, and her name is Monica Z. You poor thing. Women create babies. All right, let's go. So she says, you poor thing. Women create babies with the help of men, families, homes, cultures, and traditions. Without these, the society we live in would be sterile. Really? Cold environment that love could not grow in. That's right. We create the environment for love. What's so important about love? Well, none of us would not want to be here or do anything. And the reason you think women don't create anything is because you have been starved of love. Oh my gosh. If you had been given love, you would not have made this video. That's right. We are the creators of love. Oh my gosh. And without it, people die. Just like it seems your soul is dying or dead. You need love. You need women. The right women I wish you love. I have to say that this is a load of crock in my eyes. And it just highlights how women will continue to essentially put themselves on a pedestal where they are essentially the mothers of the earth. They are the creators of essentially everything. That's what she's saying. They say with the help of men, they create families, homes, cultures, and traditions. Families, homes, cultures, and traditions. In the modern day age, as a result of feminism, many of the best cultures that we've had, many of the best traditions that we've had have been destroyed. In Western societies, our culture is being wiped away as we allow mass immigration of people who come into our countries and then refuse to integrate. And then we say here in America, for example, it's the American way because America was built by people from other cultures. Just America was formed by people who came from other countries and came from other cultures. But within America, a new culture formed. When new societies form, new cultures also develop along with those societies. So to say that women create cultures is a joke. Women destroy cultures. As they allow invaders, as they allow pretty much anyone to walk in. When things go to hell, do you think the women actually stick around? They basically run off with the biggest cock in the room that'll give them resources. That's how women work. Women do not create culture. They destroy cultures. Cultures are something that were created by men. Poetry. I mean, let's go back generations. Let's go back hundreds of years to the times of William Shakespeare. In those days, poetry, plays, things that completely delved around the structure of what love is. The actors in those plays were all men, even playing the feminine roles. The roles of women were played by men in plays historically. Do you want to talk about ballet? Ballet was created by men. In fact, it was traditionally danced by men. Ironically, women enjoyed ballet so much that they began emulating it, and such the ballerina was born. But that didn't happen for hundreds of years later. The truth of the matter is that women often find things that they enjoy that men create, and then they basically swarm into these areas. They begin to swarm them and dominate them to the point that men often end up leaving them. If you go back 100 years ago, nurses were not women, nurses were men. Virtually all nurses were men. But when wars began happening and women began falling into support roles, many went into nursing. They found that the stress and the difficulty of becoming a nurse was not as great as becoming a doctor. So, what did they do? They went into nursing. And they basically took over the field. And as they began coming into the field, more men simply left the field. That's really how these things work. When you talk about even flowerists, do you think that women are the originators of flowery? Of botany? I think that's the word. Forgive me if I got it wrong. The origins of these fields come from men who studied the very science of this. You think it was a woman who realized that if you put a seed in the ground, it will result in something growing? No, it was men who experimented and watched these things happen through observations, taking notes, passing this information on to multiple generations. Women create nothing, they offer nothing to society other than children. That's all they've actually ever done. Produce babies. By producing babies, we're able to sustain our population. And in our modern era, even that, they're not very good at anymore. So to say that women create families, homes, cultures, and traditions, with modern day feminism, women have kicked the men out of their homes. 75% of all children, African American children specifically, will be born to single mothers. Single mothers! Think about that. They create families. No, they destroy families when they're allowed to do whatever they want to. They create homes. How can you call it a home when it's a single mother and a child living off the government? That's not a home. Cultures? They tear down cultures. They basically allow anyone to come in and rip apart a culture and say that it's in the name of equality and justice. Traditions, many of the best traditions have been destroyed because of women. It was something that Nikola Tesla pointed out when he discussed feminism and explained that many of the greatest traditions are being destroyed now because of the way women are pushing into the workforce and saying they want equality. They want equality, they want equal social and political standings to men. It's an absolute joke to actually say women are the originators of love. Women create love. Women know nothing of love. I remember once hearing another YouTuber, I believe, say this. And her husband said this to her. He said to her, "You love me, right? Unconditionally." And she says, "Sure I do." He says, "Really? Okay. So, if our children did something wrong, would you love them unconditionally? Would they always be your children?" She said, "Well, yes, of course." He said, "Well, if I did something wrong, really bad, would I always be your husband?" And she was speechless because she knew the answer was no. That's not unconditional love. Someone will argue that, well, I still love him, but I had to put him out. I could no longer live with him. Or I could do better, and he would bring my life down. So while our relationship was built upon love, and a part of me will always love him, I'm not in love with him. And other women will relate to her, but realistically, it's just absolute bullshit. What a sad and pathetic thing it is to say that a woman creates love. Women create love. Men don't create love. Women create love. Men spend generations Men have spent years talking about the philosophy of love. What love is, how to express love, how to show love to a woman. Yet women create love. That's an absolute lie. No. Women benefit from the love of men. They always have. They don't create love. They love the things a man can do for them. They love the things that a man can give to them. But they know nothing of the very nature of unconditional love in its purest form. When I read things like this, I just have to shake my head, but remember the kinds of people that I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with narcissists. I'm dealing with people who think that they are better than everyone else. I've seen arguments. In fact, when I had Amanda Wildchild on my channel recently, she basically explained that women are responsible for various creations throughout society, including Madame Marie Curie. Marie Curie's husband invented a device that allowed us to measure radiation, but he died before he could use the device for its complete functionality. She then turned around and used the device, recorded the information, and called it her own. In reality, he developed the device to do just this, but she took credit for his hard work. Amanda Wildchild basically argued that he created the device, but she actually made a discovery using the device, so she deserves the credit. The truth is, women don't create anything. They take credit for the creations of others. Have there been some great female mathematicians? It's interesting regarding that subject. You see, women, when it comes to math, they are good copycats. They can copy, they can repeat, but they don't create anything original. They don't make real discoveries in math. They typically don't. There are some women who've made a few theories, but few of these theories have actually been proven by them. It was actually men who later were able to actually come to a conclusion on how this actually worked and if this actually existed. The truth is that women don't create anything. Their imaginations are limited. And even the most intelligent woman who has her advanced degrees will later want a baby. She'll want stability in her life. She will want a family. Women create families with the help of men. I'm looking at this comment just shaking my head. Women create families. Men don't create families. Women create families, because without a woman, there can't be a family, but without a man, there can. So basically, men are the assistants to women. We build it, but women are the creators of it. We may have conceived the idea, the women are the creators of it. You've got to be kidding me. But in reality, she's saying that we don't even conceive the ideas. Women conceived it. We basically do some of the grunt work. Or we may provide them a bit of help and assistance. We're like worker ants. Funny how Tesla talked about society deteriorating to a point where men will basically be at the mercy of women, and they'll only be kept around for the day-to-day running of things, which is what we are in society today. We keep things going, we keep the planes going, we keep the streets clean, we keep society alive as women work to tear everything apart. And then basically turn around and say it's all discrimination. That's what men have become. We've just become worker ants that are stepped on whenever a woman deems us no longer fit. Her lies are simply rewarded. In countries such as Israel, a woman can go to the cops and lie. And even with video evidence, cops will take her word for it because the law is deemed this way. And in the rare cases where a man is actually vindicated, where he's actually found not guilty, the media will simply stop punishing women because you can forgive the bad acts of a woman. You can forgive murder, you can forgive lies, you can forgive hell, even treason. But only men can be held accountable for anything. And a woman destroying a man's life means very little. It's funny, I remember cases where men were basically accused of rape, and finally the courts discovered that women were actually lying. The women weren't actually punished. I've heard stories where, at very most, they were required to write a letter apologizing for what they've done. Best case scenarios. Feminists often argue that you shouldn't persecute these women because even if their stories don't entirely match up, something bad still happened to them. Jackie, who basically fabricated the whole tale to Rolling Stones, that was proven to be completely fake and lacked any sense of reason, rationality, and journalistic integrity, is still actively defended by social justice warriors who say something actually happened to her. When the police investigated her, they found that she was actually involved in a catfish, basically setting someone up. She is a detestable individual of poor character, but again, she is still held by high regards. If you want to take it even more steps further, another step further, a number of years ago, Duke lacrosse players had their lives destroyed when a stripper turned around and said that these guys raped her. There were two strippers actually involved. One stripper testified that the woman, when they left the party, the other stripper, I think her name was Crystal, said to her, you know, I could actually say that these guys raped me, and people would believe me. When she reported this to the cops did not do anything. They took the stripper's word for it, the other stripper's word for it, despite the fact that an eyewitness who was actually there said that no sex had occurred, and that she was making up the story. In fact, she confessed to her prior to reporting it as rape that she would actually do this. These young men had their lives wrecked, destroyed, torn apart. And what ended up happening as a result of that? Things only got worse. More laws were only passed, such as yes means yes, so that any accountability was completely taken away. And in cases where there's no evidence whatsoever, and it's essentially he said, she said, they say take the word of the accuser over the person who's being accused. This downright violates the Constitution, which says that people are presumed innocent until proven guilty, meaning that the burden of proof is always upon the accuser. But in today's society, whenever the accuser is a woman, the burden is no longer placed on the accuser to prove themselves. They want the burden is now placed upon the accused to prove that they are not guilty. I don't know what you guys think in the comment section if you agree that women do not create love. They do not create families. They do not create homes, cultures, or traditions. They create nothing of value in this world. That once upon a time, they helped to facilitate in the creation of life, and we are moving increasingly in a direction where men don't even want to have anything to do with women anymore, and would rather watch the human race come to an end because people aren't reproducing anymore, rather than risk getting their lives torn apart by being in a relationship with some narcissistic, materialistic, gynocentric, egocentric woman. There we go. Let me know what you think. Also, I put out about 3 of these videos every single day, so please consider leaving a donation via my Patreon by clicking on the Patreon donation link in my YouTube header on my homepage. Also, if you check out the Patreon, you can see that you can become a Patreon for as little as $5 a month. This is really important because this actually helps to ensure I can continue to make quality content for you guys. I use tons of software, tons of editing, tons of work. So please, guys, help support my channel. You can become a Patreon for as little as $5 a month. So please sign up on Patreon. Also, never miss another video from me ever again by clicking on the clicking on the notification buttons below any of my videos next to the subscribe button to enable notifications. When you click on the button, you'll see a pop that says send me all notifications for this channel. Hit the checkbox, then hit save. Once you've done this, you will all receive a notification whenever I'm live streaming or whenever I put out a new video. And if you've already done it, you don't have to do it again. Let me know if you agree that women create nothing. They do not create love. They create misery and chaos. That's the only thing they've ever created. Let me know what you think in the comments section. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you liked the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers!